What's up YouTube, this is Will from Will Development. It's a second run at this video because I realized I wasn't even timing myself on the last one, which can be a challenge. I don't know how long I want this video to be. It's honestly really hard to be very informative in under 15 minutes. Eventually I'll change my settings, my account settings when I get some more subscribers and things like that. So spread the word, please, spread the word, get more subscribers, then you'll get longer videos from me, because that's what everybody wants. They want to fucking hear me talk all the time, right? Anyway, I want to talk today about my scars. So, what they are, how I got them, and what made me who I am. So, everybody always sees the big scar right on the front, the big zipper. Goes all the way down, right past my rib cage, my ribs, and actually my rib cage ends right about there-ish, so it goes about a centimeter longer. And then I've got one scar right there, and then one scar right there, and then the big one right here that fucks up all chances of my left side looking good from a feeding tube. And then I've got my big one on the back. I'm going to turn around, see if you can. Big one on the back. You see them in my back shots when I take them, put them on Instagram. You see those shots. So, what caused me to have surgeries for what caused me to get these scars? Surgeries. When I was born with 3 major medical problems, and they were cardiological, if that's a word, in nature. I had ventricular septal defect, transposition of the great vessels, and pulmonic stenosis. I was born with all 3, all in one shot. Kablam, blam, boom. Now, if you don't know shit about the heart, get on Wikipedia a little bit. But I'll do a little lesson. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a cardiologist and I know a lot about the heart. I understand the basic principles of the heart. I understand how they affect, how hearts affect blood pressure, and how they, their different chambers. I can identify the different parts of a heart. Better than, say, like a brain. Like I can't tell you which one's the amygdala and which one's the medulla oblongata, if that's even a real thing, which I think it is. I don't know. Oh, Will knows physiology. I know muscular physiology. And the heart, and the lungs, and a lot of the major organs. I know the major organs, I know what they do. I don't know the specifics of each one. You know, I'm not a brain expert. I'm not a heart expert. Not even a body expert. Just a guy who studies physiology. I digress too much. So, I'll just jump right in. Ventricular septal defect. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't know what half this shit means. But, I got these definitions from my cardiologist, which is a doctor who specializes in the heart. I got these from my cardiologist website. And according to their website, a ventricular septal defect is often abbreviated as VSD and means that there is a hole between the 2 pumping chambers of the heart, the ventricles. This allows a certain amount of blood to flow from the left ventricle across the hole to the right ventricle and out to the lungs. This causes the heart to work harder than normal. Most of the time these holes are quite small and over a period of time will close up immediately on their own. About 5% of the time they will need surgical closure. Guess who was part of the 5%? So they got a little picture here. And this is actually a really great picture of the heart. very, very simply explains what the hell's going on in my heart. So you've got the left ventricle and left atrium, ventricle, atrium, and then you got the right ventricle and the right atrium up here. So what happens is the right ventricle supplies blood to the lungs. Well, then the lungs spit that blood out into the left atrium and then into the left ventricle through the aorta and into the body. That's oxygenated blood now. Well, with a ventricular septal defect, what happens is when you breathe in, or when I breathe in, when I breathed in, I should say, the air would come into my lungs. So it would come in through the right atrium, down the right ventricle, and then it goes into the lungs, right? But here was the problem. When it would pump, it would shoot that new oxygenated blood into the left ventricle, which would leak into the right ventricle, and then come in. So I was getting pre-oxygenated blood into my lungs. This caused a problem. Before I was talking, I realized I said air into the lungs, but this is all blood stuff. So sorry if that was confusing. So basically, pre-oxygenated blood was coming back into my lungs. That's not good. It causes problems. So that's already a problem we got right there, right? That's obviously a big problem. You can't have that shit leaking over. I mean, that's, you know, the blood doesn't mix like that. It shouldn't. So then I have pulmonic stenosis, which is a condition where the valve between the pulmonary artery and the right ventricle doesn't open up completely. The pulmonary artery is the vessel that supplies blood to the lungs. When the valve doesn't open completely, the right ventricle has to work harder than normal. Once again, I have a nice lovely picture for you. So that's a normal valve. It looks kind of like a pie chart with like threes, which if you look at a heart, it's actually three-dimensional and it looks like that, and it opens like that. Of course, the opening, you know, it opens like that, basically. I don't have 3 fingers, so you get the idea. So, once again, you got the right and the left, atriums, ventricles, and all that good stuff. So what happened is, you remember that, show you the picture. You remember that right ventricle from this picture? The one right there? That had the bad blood leaking into it? Well, that ventricle was also too small. So it wasn't even letting the good stuff that had to go in. So it's too small and it's getting the wrong shit because the other side's leaking in. Bad enough, right? Already on my way to dying because of that. But wait, there's more. I also had transposition of the great vessels. Position of the great vessels. It is a relatively rare form of congenital heart disease. 5% on one. Low risk of the other. Rare form. You catching my drift here? It is the second most common cause of a heart defect that can make a baby turn blue. Because I'm not getting enough oxygen. Transposition means the great vessels, the aorta and the pulmonary artery, are crossed over or switched so that the aorta arises from the right ventricle and the pulmonary artery arises from the left, causing blue blood, or without oxygen blood, to be pumped to the aorta, hence out of the body. And the red blood with oxygen to be pumped out to the lungs. This situation, if not corrected, is lethal because the body needs oxygen to survive. Kind of a bullshit statement since general air is like 30% oxygen and 70% nitrogen, but I get their point. They say oxygen because that's the fucking stereotype that humans live off oxygen. If you tried to survive off straight oxygen, you would get sick because your body cannot process pure oxygen. For long. You would live, but you wouldn't live for long. You'd probably be a fucking beast at sports if you were just huffing oxygen all the time, which is actually a thing called oxygen doping. Blood doping. I'll do a video on that. That's actually I like that one. That's actually a really cool shit. That's like when sports meets science and they use it for evil. That's what I like about that. So, okay, so 10 minutes in, you learned the 3, you learned what I went through. You didn't learn what I went through. When I was under a year old, let's say under 6 months, because I know it was before I was 6 months years old, they cut into my back and went in to repair one of those, which I believe was the transposition of the great vessels. Fuck me. So, then what ended up happening is the other parts that they wanted to correct were too small. Basically, when you're talking about a being that small as a human, the heart is very small. We're talking like the size of a fucking almond / like cashew. Like, the thing is literally like this fucking big. That big. You see, it's like my eye. So they had to wait a little bit to let things grow so they could actually operate and fix the things that they had to fix. Long story short, I drew a really short stick when I was first born. So when you see me work out and you're like, he's just got good genetics or whatever, that's a bullshit statement. Because if I had good fucking genetics, this shit wouldn't have happened. Damn Skippy. But I guess bad genetics start somewhere, right? You know? Who knows? Maybe I was just an anomaly. But it raises my it raises me to want to point out once again, I don't use it as an excuse. I use it as an empowerment thing. Everybody's got excuses, and that pisses me off. Because why do you think you deserve an excuse? What do you think your excuse is worth, huh? We're talking about debilitating things. Kids that are born with these problems that I have do not do what I do. You will not find people that have lived as long as me with this problems, haven't been corrected even, you know, working out, trying to become a bodybuilder. You don't see that. So when I ask you what's your excuse, I mean that every single time from the bottom of my heart. My broken, human, repaired heart. Because it bothers the hell out of me when I see people that are just plain lazy, but they make excuses. I don't have room to be lazy because I need to prove my worth to the world. Because I am a Darwinist at heart. I am a natural selection believer. And according to natural selection, I should have died. Plain and simple. I should have, if the world was run by people like me, it'd be a rough place. I would have, kind of like a Spartan, would have just, fuck it, that baby's done, thrown him off the ledge. So I need to prove my worth and not waste the gift I was granted by a surgeon and a doctor who knew what the hell he was looking at when it comes to babies' hearts. So my battery's about to die on the camera. I'm hitting the 14-minute mark. Kind of tired of talking about it. Might make this a two-parter. So, again, I'm Will from Will Development. I've had 4 open heart surgeries in my life. I'll probably do a video on how gruesome and shitty those are. I've had 4 open heart surgeries in my life. I am a 192-pound, 19% body fat, aspiring natural bodybuilder who has had, again, 4 open heart surgeries, who currently has a piece of plastic in his heart to keep one of the tubes open. Like, comment, subscribe. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/willdevelopment. Follow me on Twitter at willdevelopmnt. On Instagram, I post pictures pretty much daily at willdevelopment. Google Plus. You know, I'm all these things, and I don't have any excuses. Actually, I've probably got a really good one right here. But you know what? It's not about my excuse. It's about what's your excuse.